Hi, everyone. I'm Charlotte Morganti. Welcome to a coffee break with writers who know stuff. I'm here today with my good friends, Deborah Sanders and Nicolette Lemon, and we've all got our coffee. I guarantee it's coffee and nothing stronger. so, Nikki, I just wanted to tell you before we get going that I did review my marketing plan from last year. And it was interesting to look back on it and try to determine what I'd done right or wrong. So one of the goals I had for last year was to triple the revenues from book sales. And I had identified tasks that I had to do in order to achieve that goal. And one of the tasks was to publish at least 2 books last year. Well, of course, I didn't do that. I published one. And then, things got in the way. And I realized that what was getting in the way was me turning my attention to things that other people wanted or needed me to do. And I think, like a lot of women or writers generally, we make room for the needs of others in priority to our own needs. And then I stumbled on a quote by Stephen Covey, who said, don't prioritize what's on your to-do schedule. Instead, focus on scheduling your priorities. And that sort of turned the light bulb on for me. And I realized that's what I was not doing. I wasn't identifying my priorities and making time for them in my schedule. So now, going forward into 2025, the first thing in my goal is prioritize getting more books published, so that I have a hope of increasing the revenues from book sales. And so I'm just wondering whether either of you have run into the same issue with prioritizing your business, your writing business.
Well,
I'll
I
jump in.
definitely
Oh,
have.
either one. Go ahead, Deb. Because
Oh
we both
gosh.
have issues.
You
Yeah.
notice that we're talking over each other and going, oh yeah, me.
Oh,
Yes.
good. I'm not the only one.
Right. Exactly.
I think all that this proves, Charlotte, is well, one of the things it proves is that we all have similar issues. Sometimes, writing is a solitary um, uh, endeavor, and sometimes we think we're the only ones that has this problem, but we all have it. I'm going through it right now. I've got family coming in. I've got friends coming in to visit because we're in Arizona and winter is the time that everybody comes in to visit. So it's just like it's like a runway stacked up with visitors and coming in. And I'm trying to get the patio cleaned up and get my house ready and write my grocery list out. And then I've got my kids that's, calling me and saying, "Hey, what do you do about this? What should I do about this?" And I have been putting all my own projects on the back burner. And you know what
Mhm.
happens when you do that is you start to become resentful. And that's not good.
Mhm.
So I think balance is the key. And I love that Stephen Covey quote. That's so awesome. And that's what I'm really working on right now is trying to find balance. And if I don't get everything done, if I don't get the patio cleaned today, that's okay because I have other priorities that I need to do with my writing, with my branding business, and I'm allocating time for that. And when I'm doing that, that is my priority. So scheduling and balancing and realizing that you shouldn't ever put your own needs on the back burner. Obviously, there's times when you need to do that, but you still
Mhm.
have to find time as writers to to devote to that because it's not a hobby. This is our business. Even if it's a part-time business, it's a career.
Mhm.
and it deserves our time and attention. My thoughts, Nikki.
Yeah. But I agree totally. It is about the demands on your writing business because if it's a hobby, that's fine also, but there's still things you got to do. So there's still demands on your time. But as a writing business, prioritizing is key to your success, I believe. And when you said that, Charlotte, about prioritizing things is probably the hardest thing as a creative because if you're in the moment and you want to write, that's one thing. But if you have to get that social media post done or
Mm.
that email newsletter done, or it's hard to be able to shift and focus different things. But if they're prioritized, and I always say that you have to prioritize your time, talent, and treasure, the time that you have available, right? And so you can set up that you're going to write at a certain time every day and all that, but do you do it? Does something else come in and mess that up because you've got to take time to do your marketing or whatever? And then on the talent side, really feeding your creative side, but sometimes it's not enough and you have to go find someone to do it for you.
Mhm.
And I think that's another piece of this that takes time away. And then it's the treasure part, budget. What budget do I have to actually pay someone to do something for me that I need or to buy ads or whatever it is I'm going to do as part of my marketing? So, really being able to prioritize where you feel comfortable with your time, talent, and treasure is really critical to your writing business success.
Right. Well, lately I've been focusing on trying to prioritize just haha the time part, and what I found is I have a Facebook author page, which is great because it allows you to schedule your social media in advance. And I try to set Sundays aside. I've found that it may take me 4 hours to set up 7 days worth of social media posts because I go onto Canva and I start trying to find neat images, and there's that rabbit hole, and then scrolling through my camera trying to find videos I might have taken of the deer in the neighborhood, that's stuff like that. So one just a couple of weeks ago, things got in the way and I didn't spend Sunday putting together social media posts. And so that week, my social media was hit and miss. I think I managed to post 2 days out of, 7. So that's one thing I've learned about myself. If I don't prioritize time, and to the point where I actually have said to myself, Sundays, you must do this, don't write, don't, cook dinner, do this. And, if I do that, then the rest of the week is freed up for me to focus on writing and promotions of other sorts. And, I know Deborah's out there making her waterfall in the, in the patio.
I had to rebuild it. It had a leak, and I totally tore it apart. And I found that it wasn't really a leak at all. It was just one of the waterfall nozzles was not positioned correctly.
Oh
So
my.
I basically rebuilt it, and I like it better. It's okay, but yeah, that
You
was a time suck.
yeah, you should have videotaped the whole, you should have set your camera up and videoed the whole, and then you could have put it on YouTube and been like an instant hit because you
Yeah.
wouldn't believe the number of women who would like to go out there and build themselves a waterfall.
How to.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that
Well,
would be.
let me tell you, don't expect to have any fingernails, even with 2 pairs of gloves on, because they're all gone.
Okay, I'm out then. I have to have my fingernails. I love it.
Oh dear. Speaking of priorities, the manicure. Yes.
Yes, it is. But that is something that when you're talking about other things that get in the way because you weren't expecting something, like you weren't expecting that so-called leak, or you don't expect that whatever it was that came up for you on Charlotte, so you didn't do your social media post, whatever. But give yourself a break too. I
Yeah.
mean, we
Yeah.
need to prioritize, but we also need to be flexible for life because
Yeah.
stuff
Yeah.
happens, right? So I think that that's the idea, though. Prioritizing at least gives you that thought process of what's the most important things to get done. And
Right.
that's why I liked your idea about prioritizing, Charlotte, because I feel that you won't do your marketing for your book if you don't have it prioritized because it may not be something you really enjoy or want to do. So then it doesn't get done. But if
That's
you have
right.
a priority on everything that's about your book business and to have you feel successful, then I think it's a wonderful habit to be in.
Yeah. Well, hopefully 2025 will be my year of getting my priorities right. So, who's got a tip, a marketing tip for everyone? How about Deborah? Do you want to start?
Well, sure. I'm going to go ahead and go with this theme of prioritizing because with branding, we have certain templates that we can prepare. And when someone is wanting to, they're in a hurry, they know, like you, Charlotte, it's like, oh gosh, I'm trying to set everything up. If you have a template to where you can just plug in an image, change the text, all the colors, the background, everything is all set up, it, you're not building anything from scratch, and it makes that whole process of scheduling a graphic post for social media go a lot faster. So that would be one. And then something that I do, although I'm a slacker, I haven't been doing this recently, but I am starting again, is I keep a running list because as I've gotten older and I've gotten busier, it's just driving me crazy not being able to remember and go, oh gosh, yeah, I should have done that. So I keep a running list on a tablet. It stays right at my desk, and it's all the things that I need to do. Now, they're not prioritized, but as I do one, I check it off and I add three more. But that way, you won't believe the amount of relief, and it's a stress reliever, not trying to remember all this stuff. I
Mhm.
just look at that and go, oh, yeah, I do need to do that today. So, keeping a list, it keeps you on track and it keeps you having a sense of progress because every time you mark one off, even if you do add three more, at least you know you've done something. And there's something subliminal in that is
Yeah.
it's like it's an achievement. So, yeah, that would be my tips.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been known to add things to my to-do list that I've already done just so I can
Cross it
check
off.
it off. I know it's a little bit of cheating, but when you look back at that list, you say, "Woo, I did accomplish that." How
I like it.
about you, Nikki?
Well, I've got going along with the idea of prioritizing your time, talent, and treasure. I have some questions just to have you think about when you are sitting down to get started. The first one is, what are your goals for your book business? Because I feel like there has to be something that you're guiding all of your efforts towards as well. So there needs have to have some goals. And where are you now is the next question. So where are you in relationship to the goals that you have? I think that's another really important one. And what should the next steps be then? So if you're starting with your goals, where you're now, and you say, what's my next steps? The other thing comes up then, or what are the obstacles in my way? Do I have anything that I need to address and get ticked off the to-do list because I don't want to be having to go back to the starter of my goal again. I need to be keeping myself moving forward on my author goals. And then the final thing is, have you done some practical exercises to move forward? Meaning, just like you heard Charlotte say about her to-do list. I mean, yes, what does it take for you to actually know that you're achieving things? And also, the same thing with what Deb's saying, all the different things that you want to get done doesn't mean, as you said, you have a list. It may not be that they're prioritized exactly or anything, but you have the list. And when you're checking those off, the idea is that that's kind of that practical exercise that gets in your brain that goes, I'm moving forward. And that's really, I think, the most important thing that we're talking about today is we want a writing business to be successful. So how can we get started doing that? And part of it is this prioritization. So yeah, I love the ideas you guys have already brought forward, but those would be my questions to think about as you're getting ready and sitting down for the year too. It's got a lot more months to go.
Yeah. Well, I'll just add perhaps a more granular tip to the list. And so I was thinking about writers who are just starting out on their building of a platform and trying to establish a presence in the online world. So I think one of the things to do is to analyze what you write. So identify your genre. And before you start any of your social media or your promotions, you need to know what you write. And that is right down to the subgenre. You know, if you're writing romance, there's several genres below the big one. The same thing with fantasy, a lot of subgenres. So I identify what it is you write. And then once you have that in mind, figure out who your audience is. And so, you know, like if I write mysteries, my audience is mostly older women. But if you write, here's the kicker, if you write children's books, your audience may be the children, but the people who are going to buy your books are their parents and guardians and caregivers. So take, you know, do a little bit of research, figure out who your audience is, who are going to buy your books. And then once you know who your audience is, you need to then research where are they on social media. My audience is mostly on Facebook and Instagram, but if I wrote fantasy or a genre that I would say attracts a younger reading group, you may find that you need to master TikTok or even Pinterest is another one. You know, and if you write cozy mysteries, you want to investigate where are all those crafty people hanging out. Pinterest is probably, I would think, one of the places they would go. So prioritize in terms of looking at what you need to know before you can start your game. And that may mean that you have to go several steps down the ladder before you can actually launch a social media program. That's it from me.
You know, that
Anything
makes
else?
such sense, Charlotte. I just want to insert this because I know with the my branding company, we talk about you have to have a foundation. You have to
Mm-hmm.
have certain basics in place to build your brand. And that's exactly what you're talking about. Before you start going out there and marketing yourself and your books, you need to do the research and build your foundation, know what it is and who your audience is to be able to find them. So, you know, that's great advice. Absolutely brilliant. And I hope all new writers and seasoned writers as
Mm-hmm.
well, sometimes we need a reminder of that too. So I think I appreciate what you just said because it's a message we all need to hear.
Oh, thanks. So that brings us to the end of our coffee break with writers who know stuff. If you've, Nikki has her cup. I have one here somewhere too. If you've enjoyed the session today, please subscribe. We'd love to, you know, add you to our list of subscribers. And once you do, there'll be a little bell that shows up on the screen, and you can tap that to receive notifications every time we upload a video. And then stay tuned during the upcoming weeks when each of us will be back with our own individual marketing minute. That's it for now. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.